Okay, y'all, welcome to 183. In the center panel, we have James Halo Effect, Sun God, over opposite of me, over there. We have Leo, as usual, sitting in negative, just like me. Where do y'all want to start? Since we were talking about the Linux or the Allen, I don't care which. The million lawsuits.
Allen?
Yeah.
I guess maybe Allen.
Yeah, Allen. It's like, which one y'all want to start with? By the way, to everyone, I apologize for the audio. I haven't tested this like this yet, and our audio is bad to begin with, so if the audio is worse than usual, I apologize. It's on my to-do list to fix this, I swear. So, which one of those do you want to start with? Anyone have any preference?
Well, I said Allen.
Okay. Like you were, and James, you were saying this before we got started. That's the one that actually surprised you the most. Like, aside from the fact that it's patent law gone amok yet again in the 21st century, what about it surprises you besides that particular fact?
That one of the things is, so he's does he still work for Microsoft?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so
No.
for some reason he didn't sue Microsoft, and he's suing Yahoo, which is owned by Microsoft.
Yeah, well, yes and no. Microsoft doesn't actually own Yahoo. Microsoft owns Yahoo's search business, in that they provide the engine that now drives the Yahoo search results. But they don't actually own Yahoo. Yahoo is still an independent company, and if they wanted to, could part ways from Microsoft, at least as much as any company can today. So it's...
They have
So that's that. No, but you know, this is the perfect example of why patent law and patents that are being approved shouldn't be approved. It's like, because basically, it's like, what was the stupidest thing in this I saw? It's like, to give you an idea, in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what these patents are. Let me read the four main patents. Browser for use of navigating a body of information. That sounds like how every GUI computer in the world and or web page works. I can't think
Well,
of...
it says it's with particular application and browsing information represented by audio-visual data.
Okay,
Not
but
sure how
again, that's a GUI.
Particularly applies to Google App ones.
Yeah, again, that's a GUI, okay? What is it? Attention manager for occupying the peripheral attention of a person in the vicinity of a display device. Okay. So
That
this...
one was patented twice.
Yeah, it's, well, I guess there's a sub thing on that. Alerting users to items of current interest. Again, I'm trying to think how you wouldn't do that. So, it basically, this is once again, ideas have been patented, not anything distinct or specific. And the tinfoil hat theory on this I kind of like, even though I don't think it's really the case, and that is that Allen, you know, he's no longer part of Microsoft. He's not really, he's one of those people who isn't really synonymous with Microsoft, actually. It's like, when you think Microsoft, you don't think Allen, you think Gates. And one of the tinfoil hat theories here is, say that again, Leo?
I said or Balmer even.
Yeah, well, you think of Ballmer now, because Ballmer's the CEO. But it's one of the tinfoil hat theories here, and I kind of like it, although I think it's bullshit, is that he's a billionaire. And he's filed these suits against all these big companies, because, you know, to name some of the companies, what is it, Apple, Facebook, Google, and he's basically just flushing some money down the toilet for his legacy, which is, he expects to lose this case, but he wants all these companies to point out how patents like this are bullshit, so that all their patents fall apart that are the same type of patents. Again, I don't think that's why he's doing this. I wish that was why he's doing this, to set a precedent in the courts, because those precedents never get set. Whenever people sue on bullshit patents like this, they always wind up settling out of court because both sides have patents, or one side has no patents and they don't have a case to argue. It would actually be really interesting if this case does go all the way through the courts, because it would set a precedent, whether it's his intent or not, that these type of patents are bullshit and unenforceable. And you could just, if you're a little mom and pop company with no patents and stuff, you could cite this case from now until eternity as, this patent is bullshit and Judge XYZ agrees. Do y'all think that's, I think that tinfoil hat's bullshit. I think he's just being an ass. Or do y'all think maybe that has some merit here?
Yeah, I don't think that it's that complicated, personally.
Occam's razor.
Yeah. A rich person who needs more money in their old age. I think we can sum it up as that. I'd love to be. I'd love to be nice to this guy, but that's just. Oh well. Okay. Before we move on to relevant information, other surprising story of the week. It's like you. I was shocked as hell at this one, and we're probably not going to cover it tomorrow in Linux, so we might as well cover it now. Linux isn't getting Steam. I don't know what to make of this. It's because where this rumor came from is when you look at the code for the Apple version of Steam, there's Linux code. I don't know.
There were comments referencing Linux as well, as I recall.
Yeah, so do y'all think they just decided it wasn't worth messing with? Do you think they changed their mind? Do you think they got money under the table? It's like, I'm trying to figure out.
It could have been canceled, but I'm still hopeful. I think that I'm hoping that they're just trying not to be rushed so that they don't have to release a crappy product just because everybody's expecting it, since they saw those little comments in the code.
So you think this is misdirect where they spend the next year fine-tuning?
I sure hope so. I'm being optimistic, but...
Well, that is, like, very optimistic.
Yeah, that's very optimistic. I would... if that was the case, I'd expect them to stand fast with the no-comment approach that they've been taking. Because when you come out and make an official announcement that, no, this product does not exist, I don't... Even if they come out with it a year from now, they're not going to get any good press like they would if they just stayed shut up for the next year. Now it's going to be, the end users cried and you obeyed. Like
you guys are probably right, but I gotta have my dreams.
Well, you know, it's the problem with this, and it's the same problem with iTunes and all these marketplaces, is when you start implementing the type of DRM like Steam is. If it doesn't work fully cross-platform, it does nothing but hurt end users. And Steam is both DRM and a marketplace. Honestly, for all intents and purposes, Steam is for games what iTunes is for music and TV shows. That's just what it is. And I think it's unfair to the end user for it not to be fully cross-platform. My honest assessment is if a platform has more than 1%, it should be supported because it's a large enough of the user base.
Well,
maybe they just figure that they don't
at
have enough games to put over,
0.98%, you would say that it should still be supported, wouldn't you?
No, I'd stick by that. If Linux falls below 1%, I would stick by it. And I would stick by the 1% threshold. And the reason I say over 1% is because when something is reliably over 1% for a year, that means the unofficial count. I'm saying when the official count is over 1%, that usually means the unofficial count, or the actual user base, is closer to 4 or 5%. And in case there's any Apple fanboys who are going to come bite on me and bite my head off on this, I base this on the way OS X was miscounted for about 3 years. It's only recently started been counting pretty accurately. OS X was very inaccurately counted, just like Linux is now, for a period of about 3 years there. So you can guesstimate based on those what the real difference in sizes is. And even in the U.S., 300 million people, that's potentially a million customers. It's potentially 3 million customers, Y%. After 1%, there's enough of a base user group to go after if even a reasonable percentage of that 1% is your target demographic. And I think we know when it comes to Linux and games that it's, there's probably a lot of gamers who are on Linux who that's like the last thing. That's one of the last two things they keep Windows around for. And
one of the big things that keeps me dual booting.
Well, yeah, and realistically, it needs to be over that 1% to justify the development cost, because they need to be able to recoup that. But anything over the 1%, there's enough of a user base to recoup that extra development cost just to do the extra code to make it cross-platform. When it's less than 1%, like you're saying, it's iffy. On niche markets, in some cases, 0.25% is enough. But those are niche markets. But in general markets, as a rule of thumb, larger than 1%, you're talking about millions of people, not a few hundred people, not a few thousand people. When it's millions of users, it's enough. And you'd get the byproduct of it would grow quickly. It's like that's the other thing. Once you cross the 1% threshold, there's almost this snowball effect of once you get over the last few hurdles and you fix the little niche problems like this, then it begins to grow quickly. Again, I cite OS X. Whether it's a good or bad product, whether it's for everyone or not, it will grow once it passes that threshold and those things are fixed. So past the 1%, it makes economic sense to invest. Before that, I'm a fan of the platform. And from a business standpoint, I'm a fan of the platform doesn't please your shareholders. Either of you anything to really add on that, or?
No.
Okay, let's.
I wonder if you'd see like net cafes or just those little gaming shops or whatever that have their LAN parties or whatever. If they would really benefit and increase the market if gaming were ported heavily to Linux. So I can see that saving them a bit of money as far as building an entire shop around gaming.
Yeah, it might. 6 1/2 dozen. I don't know on that. My guess is
there are enough of those around that it's at least worth looking into, I think.
Yeah, well, it's like here. That's one of the things that's not using Windows on a lot of systems probably saved me easily $5,000. I'm not kidding there. I've probably saved $5,000, even though I still use Windows from time to time. It's like it's a real justified cost saver. I'm honestly thinking what happened here is Steam looked at this and figured, okay, Wine supports it well enough. Why didn't Crossovers
makes
report
sense.
it well enough? Why should we spend any effort? And that's the catch-22 there with